Hello and welcome to Sam Dan's Couch. I have finally received my JSAUX Steam Deck dock and I'm ready to give you my first impressions of it, talking about the build quality, the functionality and its Ethernet speeds. So let's go! I bought the upgraded model of the JSAUX Steam Deck dock with the model number HB0603. It is $10 more compared to the regular model and has faster Ethernet and faster USB ports, as well as one additional USB port. The dock comes in this very small box and also works on USB-C iPads as well as Android phones. In this video though, I'll only concentrate on the Steam Deck functionality. The dock features first and foremost an HDMI 2.0 output, 3x USB-A 3.0 inputs, a USB-C for power delivery, and a Gigabit Ethernet port. More about that a little later on. HDMI 2.0 is important if you want to output 4K resolution with 60Hz refresh rate. Newer AAA games might not be feasible at this resolution, but older games are, and if you want to use your deck as a computer, this is definitely a good option to have. In my case, I'll hook the deck up to my OLED 4K TV, which supports 60Hz. The JSAUX hub has 3 USB 3.0 inputs at 5 gigabits per second. Which might not matter much if you just want to plug in your keyboard and mouse, but it matters if you want to connect a USB thumb drive or a hard drive, or even an SSD. The dock itself has rubber inlays, so the deck doesn't get scratched when putting it inside the dock. It also has rubber feet underneath, so the dock doesn't slide all over the place either. The dock itself is made out of a metal, which gives the dock its heaviness, but also keeps the internal electronics cool. It weighs around 131 grams, or 4.62 ounces, keeping the dock grounded. As a quick comparison, I have this older Apple USB-C HDMI 1.4 adapter, which I've been using for my mid-2016 MacBook Pro in the past. Unfortunately, it doesn't support 4K at 60Hz, and what's even more important, it doesn't support higher wattage power adapters. So the Steam Deck not only doesn't charge when being connected to it, it actually drains battery and eventually runs out of power as soon as the internal battery charge is depleted. So no unlimited gaming sessions. The JSAUX dock supports the full wattage, keeping the Steam Deck powered up, and even works with the Valve power adapter that came with the Steam Deck. So you don't even need to buy a new separate power adapter. The deck and the dock itself will be fully powered. Now, some Steam Deck users have complained about slow internet speeds. I have never had any issues with download speeds using my Netgear Nighthawk RAXE500 router on the 5 GHz band, but let's see if an Ethernet connection is really going to make a big difference. In this speed test, I'm downloading the game Resident Evil Revelations directly onto the internal SSD of the Steam Deck. I'm getting up to 20.8 megabytes per second as highest achieved speed, and as average speed around 20 megabytes. Now switching over to the dock with its Ethernet port. Making sure that Wi-Fi is turned off in the settings and that the wired connection shows up. You can see that the symbol in the top bar changes to a globe when the deck is connected by wire. The highest speed I'm getting is 21.4 megabytes per second here, while the average speed is around 20 megabytes as well. Compared to the 20.8 megabytes per second top speed I'm getting over Wi-Fi, it doesn't really make any significant difference. Your mileage may vary, but in my opinion switching to Ethernet is not really worth it if you are having a decent router and you are not sitting too far away from it. If you should be further away from your router though, with your Wi-Fi speed slowing down, and you do have access to an Ethernet wire, then this might be a good alternative compared to using Wi-Fi. For me, the most interesting aspect of the dock is the HDMI and USB functionality. I hooked up my new dock to my mouse and keyboard, which both worked right out of the box, in game mode as well as in desktop mode. The HDMI output goes directly into my OnQ RZ50 surround sound receiver, which transfers all signals to my LG OLED TV. Let's turn the deck on and voila! We get a picture right away on the TV, and the internal display turns automatically off in game mode. I'm quickly hooking up my Xbox joypad to control the deck from the comfort of my couch. I can check the audio and video using my OnQ receiver. As we can see here, the audio doesn't get routed through the HDMI and actually still comes out of the speakers from the Steam Deck. The video settings show me that I'm getting a full 4K video with 60 Hz right now, which is great. Let's boot up a game, just to see it. Resident Evil 0. Audio is still coming from the internal speakers, but the game boots up nicely. Though the brightness is off, blacks are crushed. I'm going back into the settings of the Steam Deck, trying to switch the audio output to external device. But unfortunately, that gives me no audio at all. Also, there are no controls for either resolution, refresh rate or screen brightness for the external display. All the brightness sliders do is control the internal display. This is probably why Valve hasn't released the dock themselves yet, because the software doesn't support any control of your external display yet within the game mode. I'm sure this will come very soon to the SteamOS, but as of right now, running SteamOS 3.3.1, we have to find another way to control our external display. This is not the fault of the dock. We just have to wait for Valve to give us more control over it with a software update. And so far Valve has been pretty good with frequent software updates and giving us new features. To solve our crushed blacks brightness problem, we can go into the game itself that we are playing and adjust the screen brightness, which in the case of Resident Evil 0 worked out really well. Yet we do have the no audio problem. I'm trying to disconnect the HDMI and reconnect method, but it didn't change anything and a reboot of the Steam Deck didn't fix this issue either. Still no audio. That means we have to take a trip to the desktop mode of the Steam Deck to look directly at the audio driver settings. The Steam Deck will select your second monitor, or in my case, my TV, as a second display, meaning the main navigation is displayed on the small Steam Deck screen. You can change that by going into the system settings and then the monitor settings, just like you might be used to do this under Windows or Mac OS X, and then click primary on the screen you want to be your main screen. Now for the audio, we head to the audio settings, and in my case all I had to do was activate HD Audio Generic Pro 8 to finally be able to hear sound from my speakers and not the internal Steam Deck speakers. I'm starting Resident Evil 0 from the desktop mode, and by checking my audio receiver settings I can see now that the Steam Deck outputs 7.1 channel audio. Success! Now let's see if we get to keep our audio when we switch to game mode, which is the preferred way to play. And yes, we did retain our audio in game mode. Wonderful! What about non-Steam games? I'm going to give Fall Guys from the Epic Games Store a test. And yes, audio here as well. Now I'm giving Cyberpunk a go. Cyberpunk can look pretty good with the right settings on the internal screen. For a big TV screen though, I'd probably not going to play it like that. An internal screen game only in my opinion. Now when you unhook your Steam Deck out of the dock, my settings stayed set for external device speakers. A reboot of my Steam Deck didn't make this change back by itself either. You have to manually go into system settings and switch your output audio device to speakers. You can do this by staying in game mode though. I have one more test to do, and that is connecting the Steam Deck with the dock to my Elgato HD60S Plus for online streaming. There is a slight problem here. First, the game mode of Steam Deck defaults to 4K 60 Hz, and guess what the HD60S Plus doesn't support? That's right, it can't do 60 Hz. No big deal in theory if I could change the refresh rate in game mode, but SteamOS doesn't let me do that yet. Within your OBS you get a weird rolling video feed, which is unsupported refresh rate. So the only solution I have right now is to go to desktop mode, switch the output to 4K 30 Hz, or even go to 1080p at 60 Hz, and play my games in desktop mode. Not the preferred way to play on the Steam Deck, but until Steam updates SteamOS, this is what you can do right now to make this work. So to wrap up my first experience with the JSAUX Dock and the Steam Deck. I definitely love the JSAUX Dock. It has everything you want from a dock, from build quality to all the functionality you need. 3 USB 3 ports, Gigabit Ethernet, full charging capabilities and HDMI 2.0 is a nice complete package. Connecting your mouse and keyboard works like a charm and requires zero configuration. The only downside right now is SteamOS not fully supporting the external dock HDMI resolution and audio switching from within game mode, like for example the option within game mode to select resolution and refresh rate for your second HDMI monitor, or automatic switching for the audio device. All this will eventually come per software update, and I believe that is why Valve hasn't released the dock themselves yet. But until we get more options in the software, there are workarounds that I have talked about before in this video. So I wouldn't necessarily wait, because you can already enjoy a docked Nintendo Switch-like experience with your Steam Deck. You just have to change a few settings here and there and you're ready to go. I hope I could give you some inside information about the JSAUX Dock and its functionality with the Steam Deck. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing to this channel to never miss a new video from us. Thank you for watching and see you next time on Sam Dan's Couch.